he cannot share his feelings with anyone. That's why there are traditions that Hadith Khidr is there, because he doesn't. So the Imam al-Islam can sometimes speak to someone. The Imam al-Islam, he's our Imam. There are angels who go and report everything. If there are Shias living in this country, they say, Maulana from New Jersey, I'm going to report to you. These are all the mu'mineen. And many times, there will be people he will ask about. He didn't tell me about him. He said, Maulana, I'm coming to him. I want to know about him before the others. There are incidents. When Astaana-e-Zehra, who only lived about 200 years back in Najaf, in the history of the Shia Marja'iyat, we've only had two people, two Maraje. Whenever they wanted to see the Imam al-Salam, they just prayed and the Imam al-Salam came to them. Wow. One of them is Sayyid Sheikh Muqaddas al-Baili, Ahmad Muqaddas al-Baili, Ahmad ibn Muhammad Muqaddas. Look at him. He says that when he was young, he was going for the ziyarat of Karbala, and all the the people they used to travel on horses and camels. They stopped, put their tents. Early in the morning, he said, I went for Namaz al-Shab and did my Fajr, and I was out at the river. When I came back, the people had left. And I was thinking, which direction did they go in? It's a desert, I can't tell. He said, I prayed for the Prophet Muhammad salam. He said, I didn't know who this person was, but a young man came who was riding a horse. He said, come and I'll take you to your caravan. He held my arm and he said, sit down behind. With one hand he picked me up and sat me down. He started asking about the ulama in Najaf. He said, what about that alim? What about that alim? What about that alim? So he said, he knew them as if he knows them personally so well. And I kept telling him. And then he said, what about Ahmad ibn Muhammad al-Baili? This is Muqaddas al-Baili, who was sitting behind the Imam. He said, what about Muqaddas al-Baili? What about him? So he said, he is a person who does not have many good actions. He is a sinful person because he's talking about himself. He said, wo to bahut nalayak hai. He is not worth mentioning. He's a very lowly person. The Imam said, if he was that lowly, he wouldn't be sitting behind the Imam. The Imam al-Salam will be there for you. You have to make a point with the Imam al-Salam. The Holy Prophet and all the Imams have talked about him. You feel that you have an Imam. You should feel that you have an Imam, How close do you feel to some of the people that you quickly want to speak to? Sit down and talk to your Imam like that. Sometime, just do wudu, everything should be tahir. Sit down, read some, the namaz of 12th Imam al-Salam, face the Qibla and talk to the Imam al-Salam. Sit down and talk to him. Feel that he is around. Do that. When you do it often, you will feel changes. You will see that, yes, I feel someone's presence. That feeling should be so strong in you that the Imam al-Salam feels, yes, there is a Shia in New Jersey that I want to visit. When you're good, the Imam will come and visit you. You don't need to go and find the Imam al-Salam. Imam said, he himself has said, to one of his appointed representatives, Hussain ibn Rawh, he said, tell my Shias, if they want to see me, they don't need to come after me. If they truly want to see me, I'll come and see them. If they truly want to see me, I'll come and see them. Be a bit more in love with the Imam alayhi salam. Pray for him. Give sadaqah on his behalf. Give his sadaqah. Oh Allah, give him a long life. Pray for him. How much do you love him? Show your affections about the Imam alayhi salam. Oh Allah, give my life to the Imam alayhi salam. Ruhi wa arwahul alameen li turabi maqdamihi al-fida. Oh Allah, take my soul and the souls of all the people in this world to give as a ransom for the Imam alayhi salam. The holy prophets and Imams have talked about him. All the prophets. The holy prophet himself says, oh my companions, my last wasi will come. My last successor. His name will be my name. His looks will be my looks. His character, his conduct, his akhlaq, everything will be like mine. When he's talking about the Imam, please, just a few more minutes. Every Imam, Hazrat Imam Ali Salam talks about him. Everyone is talking. Hazrat Fatima, when does she talk about him? When she's coming back from inquiring for Fadak. and they've refused. When they refuse, she remembers the 12th Imam. She has, her husband is Ali bin Abi Talib, the line of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She doesn't talk about him. When someone took off that paper and ripped it, that no, I'm not going to give you further. At that point, who she remembered? She did not say, my son Hassan, my son Hussein. She said, today you have taken what I deserved. But let me tell you, I have a son that is coming. His name is Mahdi. May we be taken as a ransom. Oh Mawla, your grandmother Hazrat Fatima called upon you. He's Mazloom. Think about his Masa'ib. You don't see anything when Karbala, when Ashura comes, the Imam sees all the Masa'ib. Hazrat Fatima called upon him. When Hazrat Imam Hussain said, Mother, you have gone for your ride, did you get it? She said, son, today I miss my last son Mahdi. Imam Hassan talked about it. Imam Hussain, when he talked about him? When Hazrat Ali Asghar was in his hands. He said, oh people, you've killed my brothers, you've killed my sons. But let me tell you one thing. I have a son, Zainul Abidin. From his progeny, my 9th successor, my 9th son, my grandson, Mahdi will come and he will take revenge for this child. Asghar ka badla mera beta lega, Mahdi lega. The Imams have talked about it so deeply. Imam Zainul Abidin, Imam Baqir, the 6th Imam al-Islam. Look at this sentence from the 6th Imam. And think about it, so deep, and it's going to be so difficult for you to take it in. He says, لَوْ أَدْرَكْتُهُ لَخَدَمْتُهُ طُولَ حَيَاتِي. If I was in his time, I would have served him all of my life. A father saying that about his son? Mawla, why are you saying this about your son? He's saying, you don't know how much he means. All of the oppressions we have seen, he will come and take the revenge for all of them. He's the one who we all wait for. Then, what he's indicating upon is that none of you should feel that, why should I serve him? If Imam Sadiq says, I am willing to serve him, then you shouldn't feel embarrassed. You shouldn't feel that, why should I serve him? Serve him. The 7th Imam remembers him. And the 8th Imam? I may have mentioned this before, but we stand up and place our hand on our head. This was something that the 8th Imam did. In the court of Ma'mun had told everyone, the Holy Prophet said, I will have 12 successors, and the last one will be Mahdi. So he named his son Mahdi. He said, that Mahdi the Holy Prophet promised, he is my son. I'm the Khalifa, I'm the 11th one, he's the 12th one. So people were getting confused. In the court was Imam Raza, because he was also, he was a Wali Ahad, the crown prince as they had named him, which the Imam didn't want to become. Now his duty is to clarify this confusion. So each time he said, Mahdi, where are you? He called his son. The Imam would quickly get up and say, Ajjalallahu farajah, fidahu abuho. May Allah hasten in his coming, meaning he is not here yet. And may his father be taken as his ransom. Uska baap us pe fida ho jaye. The people said, why his father be taken? He said, because this Mahdi that you see, sometimes his mother is beating him up. Sometimes his older brothers are throwing him here and there. Sometimes the father calls him names and swears at him. But the Mahdi we believe in, his father wants to be sacrificed. The Imam will get up and place his hand on his head and say, the Imam we wait for is someone else. So much love and affection to Imams. The 9th Imam al-Salam. There is a hadith that I want to mention before I finish. The 9th Imam al-Salam, a person said, Mawla, you are the 9th Imam. Who's the Imam after you? He said, my son. Ali Naqi. He said, who after him? He said, his son will be born after my shahadat. His name will be Hassan Askari. He will be your Imam. He said, Mawla, who is after Hassan al-Askari? He said, as soon as I said, who after him? The Imam started crying. He said, Mawla, why do you cry? The Imam cried so much that his beard became wet. And he kept crying and crying. He said, the last one will be, he will have the name of the Holy Prophet, the kunya, his titles. And then he cried again. He said, his name is this, and then he said his title, Q-A-I-M. Many traditions say, when you say that title, you should stand up. That's why I didn't say it. I just spelt it. He said, Mawla, aren't you, all of you Qaim? He said, no. Now because it was in a question, it wasn't his name. is that we're all qa'im, but he